All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Chad Townsend Show. Look, I've got a special guest on today, an absolute treat for you guys. He's an absolute pocket rocket dynamite in the NRL, and to me, it reminds me of like when you're playing a pinball machine and you hit like a little ball and it just goes ding, 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 ding. 100 miles an hour. He's played 112 NRL games for 3 different clubs so far in his NRL career. He's got plenty of awesome football in front of him, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Connor Tracey. Brother, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Chatty. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Mate, tell me about your off-season. What have you been up to in the past couple of weeks?
Oh, it's been pretty good. Had a mate's wedding in Bali there for a week, and yeah, didn't go on a big trip this year that I normally do, so I've dived into something you've probably dived into too, is the golf. I've got a bit of the golf addiction at the moment.
The golf bug?
Yeah, I've got the bug big time. So yeah, I've been going to the range a lot, playing lots of golf, and yeah, it's taken up a big part of my off-season.
You know what? I love to hear that. I mean, I'm a big golf guy, obviously, as everyone knows. And I just think, like, it is, once you get the addiction, like, it's one of those things where you might hit 1,000 bad shots, but you hit that one good shot and you're back into it.
Oh, 100%.
Who's your golf crew? Do you play with a few people, teammates, or you just
I've got Josh Curran. He's quite good. He's a pretty good golfer, but he makes me feel real bad because he's miles ahead of me. And then, yeah, read and play with a few of the boys. So, yeah, it's a good little crew to have.
You got to start somewhere.
That's it.
It is such a great thing, and people ask me all the time about why do athletes love golf, and I think it's because you can, like, it's competitive, but you're obviously it's not physical as well. You can have banter as well. Anyway, mate, I want to talk to you a little bit about, obviously I just mentioned like your travelling and off-season plans, and, I've known you, CT, for a long time, and I've obviously followed you on Instagram for a long time. I've seen some of your crazy holidays over the past couple of years. You've had some big ones. What are some of the best places you've travelled in the off-season?
Yeah, me and my partner Hannah, we normally love the whole process of sort of booking a holiday, getting excited for it, and yeah, we've been to some pretty cool places. We've done Mexico a few times, Mexico City, Tulum. Probably the most rogue one was a Dominican Republic road trip. We were inspired to do that, and it turned out it was a bit harder than we thought it was going to be. We were sort of doing this massive road trip around the Dominican Republic, and had a few roadblocks, and the car got bogged a few times, and a few little dodgy things happened, but it was always a good experience.
Have you had any like hairy moments in Mexico or Dominican Republic or anything like that?
Dominican, we got bribed by a cop. That was a unique one. Had the translator up and was like, said he was going to arrest me, but there's a few little moments like that. But,
what is he after money?
Yeah, it was after money. Yeah, you give him $100 and he goes away. But there's nothing. That's probably the only one that's really happened. And that same trip, we got the car bogged in like the middle of the Dominican Republic forest, so that was a bit dodgy too.
Yeah, right. What about one of the other things I noticed coming across your Instagram photos and things like that is you've got a little bit of an eye for photography and video and a bit of a creative outlet. Tell me a bit about that and your interest there.
Yeah, I've like the golf thing, I sort of dive really deep into hobbies. Like I love in the off season or even in season. Just I feel like as footy players, we've sort of got that addictive personality, and like you said, like I love photography. I love film as a sort of a medium, and I've mucked around with different cameras, and it's something that I enjoy, sort of capturing those holidays in a way.
Because you just mentioned film, and I'm someone I feel like I've got a little bit of a creative outlet as well.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know when it was 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, right? I see Instagram and I'm like, geez, Connor Tracey's just posting these epic photos. What are they? So I send Connor a DM. I'm like, man, what film camera have you got? Then I'm like, I need to get a film camera. It looks so sick. Yeah. It was, I mean, it's probably died off a little bit now, but the trend or the photos, the product of it was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's sick.
Is that something that you've continued to do, or you sort of put it on the back burner, or what else is your relationship with like film photography?
Yeah, so I've tried to sort of replicate it with like digital cameras. Like I bought like a Fuji, but I just feel like you can't really. Like there's something about, I feel like when you look at a film photo, it's like nostalgic instantly. Like I like that sort of aspect of it. So you can sort of try recreate it, but I do love the film, and I still take a little digicam away with a few rolls of film.
Great. Awesome stuff. Mate, let's get into it. Look, there's a heap of stuff that I'm excited to chat to you about today, but I would like to take it back to sort of give people an insight into a bit of your journey. And obviously, you're a Shire boy from the Shire. Tell me about, the year or the age you started playing footy, how you got into playing rugby league when you were a kid.
Yeah, super young. So my dad played, So yeah, obviously always wanted to play, and then my brother was playing under sixes and I was 3, and I was hassling them to play. So yeah, I feel like I started at 3 at D-La, and sort of had that journey through the Cronulla junior system and through the Cronulla juniors, which would have been similar to you. And played all my junior footy there, and was lucky enough to play NRL there.
Yeah, beauty. And then you play all your juniors at through the junior reps at Cronulla. You sort of progress, and then you sort of hit a block in your career before you even made your NRL debut, where you had a couple of long form injuries, not just one, not two, but 3. Tell me a bit about your mental resilience and what you had to sort of show throughout that times when you were a junior facing those injuries.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Sort of went 3 years from 18 to 21 without playing a game. Had 3 back-to-back ACL tears, and mentally super hard when you're young. But I'm sort of fortunate. I was always in a good position, as in clubs. I had contracts, luckily, so I was always super fortunate, and I liked training, which helped. I reckon, like if you didn't love training, going through injuries, as you know, like it's hard. So you can always sort of look at the bright side, but it was pretty hard, and I just always had in the back of my mind that it would be worth it if I played one game. So it's pretty cool now to look back and be like, that was 10 years ago I had all those injuries. So I've been around a long time. Doesn't feel like it, but 10 years ago was the first ACL injury. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, wow. And I'm not sure which one it was, but obviously we've been teammates before throughout our time and our journey. And I remember one pre-season.
Yeah, you were there, yeah.
I was there, and it was kind of the first time I'd met you.
Yep.
And you just mentioned that you love training. And I remember this young kid comes into training, super fit, probably a little bit skinnier than you are today, really fast, full of energy, bouncing off the walls and the training paddock, competing hard as all hell. And then you went down with the ACL and you kind of limped off the field. This was in pre-season. You limped off the field, a bit of frustration. And then I just remember I didn't see you for, I don't think I saw you for 6 or 9 months at all.
Yeah, fair.
So tell me about, you obviously you said it, 3 back-to-back ACLs, 3 years in a row, no footy, barely any footy. You had an awesome junior career, Australian schoolboys as well.
Yeah.
An awesome pedigree, and then all of a sudden 3 years of just adversity. Tell me about like your support network. What was that like, throughout those times?
Yeah, it was really important. Obviously, you tie a lot of yourself to footy, your identity, and especially at that young age where you're not really aware of that. It's sort of like, you can't play, and your whole personality sort of is under attack. So,
who am I?
Yeah, who am I? Like, hence became the hobbies. Like, I just started going bulk hobbies, but no, it was tough. Obviously, sit out that long, and you learn a lot about yourself. But at the same time, I'm grateful I had that happen to me. I feel like it set me up and sort of gave me the blueprint of what I sort of could achieve in my career.
Did you sort of think at that stage, like, did it ever come in your mind where you're like, maybe footy's not for me? Do I need to do something else? Do I want to keep going? Did those thoughts come in?
Yeah, so the third one, if I had done it again, I reckon I would have had to retire at South there. And that was a long rehab. That was 15 months had a real big surgery done because I'd obviously had the 2. So that was a tough one mentally. Had to G myself up to step off it for months. Throughout that rehab, it was so hard. And then, there was some thoughts there. But, as you said, I just dived into the rehab and just, hoped that it was going to be sweet. And luckily, the last one held up.
So you just mentioned at Souths, you grew up in the Shire. I'm sure you had a dream of making your NRL debut at the Sharks. Obviously, the injuries you face, and then you make the decision to leave Cronulla. Haven't made your NRL debut yet. Head over to Souths to eventually you will make your NRL debut at Souths. But tell me about when you left the Sharks and signed with Souths. Was that process kind of hard? Because did you think, I'm going to play my whole career at Cronulla? Was that a tough decision for you at that age?
Yeah, it was. Like any junior, you want to debut at the club. But like you said, I'd been through a bit, and I sort of thought the change of scenery would be good in a way. Had those 2 back-to-back ACL tears, so I was sort of after a change of scenery, and it was good to sort of get over there. But I've literally signed, was doing some rehab with the physio at Souths, and tore my ACL before pre-season even started. So that was before the 15-month rehab. So
wow.
I got some pretty story cases about getting injured just after you sign a contract. It was one that happens at the Bulldogs a bit later.
So that's the third one, the last one?
That's the last one, yeah.
That's the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you go to Souths, you make your NRL debut. Tell me about your NRL debut. Tell me about how you found out. Tell me about the week leading up to it. You know, who'd you play? Tell me all of it.
Yeah, we played Parramatta, and it was Cody had played Origin, so he was going to back up, and he had a bit of a sore shoulder. And I was in during the week about, rest that shoulder out.
Give me a matchy.
Yeah, give me off a matchy, but yeah, I think his shoulder put off a bit sore, so Wayne gave me the nod to debut, which was pretty cool, and yeah, had Reynolds in the halves with me, so yeah, it was a pretty special night. I
remember the slick back hair actually. It was, I can't talk. I used to have the same. I had a couple of crazy.
What were we thinking?
Yeah, what were we thinking? Honestly,
the funniest
absolutely
photos
crazy, bro. I remember obviously, doing my research and coming up with some things that I wanted to talk to you about today. I see a couple of old photos and I saw that South's hair and I'm like, that's CT. That's CT back in the day.
Yeah.
You just mentioned that you were coached by Wayne Bennett. Obviously, very successful long-term NRL coach. I haven't had much to do with Wayne, and I've only met him here and there. But tell me about your time with Wayne, and what did you take away from that?
Yeah, as you said, his reputation is sort of says enough about him. Like, he's such a good coach, and he's real good at the personal level. Like, he's a real good man manager, and knows sort of what every player ticks. And it was pretty cool to have my debut under him and sort of learn as a young kid under him. It was pretty special.
And you played 2 years at Souths? Well, you missed the first year?
Missed the first year, debuted the second year, played 2 games, and then went back to Sharks.
Yep, that's right. That was my next question, because I knew you missed the first year, but I wasn't sure if you played 2 or 3 years there. But the 2 years at Souths, you're off contract again. The Sharks, I assume, contact your manager and say, hey, we want Connor Tracey back. Tell me a bit about that process and how did you feel when the Sharks were like, mate, we want you back?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It sort of happens out of nowhere, and you don't think you're going to have the opportunity to go back to your junior club. For that to come up, I was pretty excited. It was pretty cool that sort of they wanted to have me back away, I guess. And
then obviously, your time at Cronulla, you were in and out of first grade early on, and obviously at this stage of your career, you're still a halfback, 5'8", which many people may not know. Obviously, you're very well cemented at doing a great job at fullback now. But tell me about, I guess, your time back at Cronulla. How did it feel that you were back at the Sharks? You'd made your Sharks debut. Mm-hmm. Like, that'd probably be a pretty significant moment in your life, I assume. Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously played with you back in those days, and I was still playing 5'8", so I started off on the bench, and I was just happy to be playing NRL, loving it. Going on anywhere, centre, sort of hooker. You're like the fix-it man. I was going on everywhere, which I enjoyed. That early part of your career, just helping the team, and I was just each week trying to play my best and sort of stay in the team. And it was obviously, it's a real cool moment when you first come into first grade. And then, like I said, you were that utility role that you did so well, which I think sometimes, like, you look at players and the utility role is absolutely fantastic for them. Sometimes it sort of hampers a couple of guys, because they sort of go through their whole career without knowing, I guess, what extras to do or who am I? But you kind of moved from the halves and found a position at fullback. And I just remember a game we actually played against you guys. I was at the Cowboys, and you were playing fullback, and you probably had one of the best games I'd seen you play. You won like the man of the match for the Paul Green medal, I think it was. Tell me about that switch and the first moment that the coach was like, "Mate, we're going to put you in fullback. What do you think?" Tell me about that. Yeah, so it was more the switch the years prior from 5'8" to centre and wing, I guess. It's pretty weird to go from 5'8" to wing, but like you said, that utility, I was playing a lot of positions and sort of found myself playing centre and wing and found it really suited me. Sort of could work hard, bring the yardage, and I wouldn't have made it as a 5'8" in the NRL. I sort of had to evolve my game, which I enjoyed and I was really lucky to do. So sort of found myself in the outside backs, really enjoyed it. And then similar thing happened. Coach was like, I'm going to train you at fullback. Loved it as well, sort of thought it suited my game. It's just been probably an evolution of sort of figuring out who I am as a player, and it's been really enjoyable. I never played fullback and never thought I would, but sort of journeying from 5'8" to wing to fullback, it's been a wild ride, but it's something I enjoyed. What do you love about fullback?
I just sort of love it. It's sort of a work ethic position. You can play it a few different ways, but I sort of like the work ethic side of it, and defensive, organising the line and stuff, and it's an enjoyable position. Because
for people who may not know, fullback to me is almost like the one of, if not the most important positions in the team. Obviously, the amount of work you guys do at the back, but also the defensive work, which has just become so much more like important in the modern game. Is there anything you don't like about fullback? I mean, you obviously don't want to let opposition teams know, but without giving too much away, is there anything that fullback you're like, I didn't have to do that in the halves, or you know what I mean?
It's very different. A lot of running. You've got to be super fit.
Yeah.
But I'd say the hardest thing about fullback is probably the defensive side, which is it's enjoyable too. Like everything is enjoyable. That's hard, I guess, and. Yeah, saving tries is super important these days, and also extremely hard. So I'd say that's a.
What about your prep at fullback? Tell me a bit about like a normal week for you with your preparation. When you're playing a certain team, because a certain opposition, a certain halfback might like to kick early. Sam Walker, for example, might kick off the second tackle. How do you kind of come up with a game plan, or are you someone that likes to sit down and watch tape, watch film, video, or tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, lots of video. Specifically those sort of examples of the halfbacks is a lot of the back three getting together with your wingers and figuring out who their main kicker is. Sort of Sam Walker's a tough one to play, as you mentioned him. He's super tricky.
He kicks on first tackle whenever he wants.
You just see him watching you the whole game. I'm like, he wants to kick the whole game. So it's pretty enjoyable playing those sort of players.
It's almost like a battle between you and him.
Yeah.
You know what the thing? Obviously getting to meet Sam. The thing is, you just mentioned like he's looking at you.
Yeah.
And you guys are probably like locking eyes
yeah.
on the opposite sides of the field.
Yeah.
And the thing after the game, it's like, I'm sure you just see him after the game and you shake hands and you might even just have a laugh about it's like a game of chess, isn't
100%,
it? Whatever he does, I need to do. If he does this, I'll do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tell me about, is there any other halves that you've come across in your time where you're like, he's been super hard to get a read on?
Yeah, Cleary's the same. He's sort of, those halves are the next level. As you said, you see him watching you. I remember one with Sam, I was on the other side. I see him see that and kick, and I was like, I can't do that too many more times. Like, these halves are so smart with their kicking game now. And, it's an enjoyable little, like you said, little chess battle.
It is 100%. And that's what I loved about, I love that about the game, because it's like, if they do this, we do this. You do that, we do this. You know what I mean? There's always a move for every move, but it's
100%.
like who gets the moves right. Like it is a battle, mate. So you've played at Cronulla, you've made your debut. Obviously, you just mentioned the transition from the outside backs, from centre to wing, from utility to moving to fullback, and then it's sort of you were on contract at Cronulla, and I see this news in the media. Connor Tracey gets a release. He's going to sign with the Bulldogs. Tell me about how that process happened. Obviously, because the Sharks had Will Kennedy there at the time. You'd obviously done a phenomenal job as well at fullback. Tell me about how the whole process of that sort of came about.
Yeah, so it was sort of that 23 year. Played pretty much the whole year in Cup. I got a last 6 games at NRL, which was enjoyable. But I was just in
they were really good games for you too, weren't they?
They were my first playing fullback ever. Will got injured, like you said, but it was sort of just about finding more game time. There was nothing. I love the Sharks still. Fitzy was a legend of a coach, and really close to all the boys. So it was a tough decision, but at the time I was just almost 26, 27. Played Cup the whole year, so I was just at a point, whatever position, and just looking to get more game time. And the Bulldogs came, and it was sort of seeing what Sarah was building was it's pretty appetising. Yeah,
for sure. And that's one thing that like a lot of people don't understand. It's like sometimes people just assume that something may have happened or whatever, but when it's more about like it's a tough decision, like I've got to put my career first.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't want to go and play. I want to play NRL. You know what I mean? It happened to me a couple of times when you've got to put your career first. It's a privilege, in my opinion, to make tough decisions and to have those tough conversations. Because if you don't have tough decisions to make or tough conversation to have, it's like, you don't really have many options.
Yeah.
So
true,
I feel like that's a good thing. You move over to the Bulldogs, and then you sort of started your career at the Bulldogs. You started on the wing, actually, round 2 for the Bulldogs. Tell me about when you first moved over, the team, because obviously this is a team that before you had joined them were like, they weren't very good.
Yeah,
to be honest. They were in like a transition phase.
Yeah.
A lot of changes. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I sort of came over that pre-season with about 10 other boys. Critter, Kurt Mann, many others. And sort of just, you really had to trust the vision. Ciro just trusts hearing what he says and how sort of smart he seemed. And, of course, the players that were coming. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to be a part of a group to sort of change a culture, change a team, and you felt that throughout that year, sort of us coming together and we were playing better, and yeah, that'll always be a pretty a cool decision in my career to sort of come into a new club with all these new players and be able to build something. It was pretty cool.
100%. To me, like I spoke about it with Reed Marnie, and it was like when you're a part of that core group of guys who actually impact the change the culture. And the Dogs had finished 15th the season before you got there. Your first season in, the changes are made. And Reed spoke about like you guys wanted to awaken up. It might have been like awaken up the Dogs or awaken up, like awaken the fans or something like that. Which it was awaken the fans, and you guys have well and truly done that now. So that your first season at the Bulldogs was a good one. You guys had a great season. You finished 6th. Tell me a bit about, I guess, some of those changes that Ciro kind of wanted to implement from your words in 2024.
For the training 24 or
like more so, I guess, was it ever spoken about? This is the old Dogs. Yep. This is the things we're changing. The culture now. Some of the implements of the changes of the style of play. It might have been, obviously you guys have changed massive personnel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was there anything that you guys focused on about how you wanted to play? Like Reed said, wanting to awaken the fans, which in Belmore you guys just...
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. The fans are crazy. They're so loud and the best fans in the game. But yeah, like you said, it was sort of all the boys that first pre-season getting used to the training, getting used to the system, all the drills, and we started that year a bit slow and we built the whole year, and I feel like once all the boys got used to the system, used to the training, we just sort of started to gel and sort of play good that middle to back end of the year. So yeah, it took all of us a while to get the system and understand the training, but as soon as you do, you're going to reap the rewards of it.
Because you guys, like I said, you went from 15th to 6th,
yeah,
and then week 1 in the finals, you guys play Manly, and everyone's probably at a core stadium, and everyone's probably thinking, this stadium's full of Dogs fans. This is Dogs' home ground. I think everyone's sort of tipped you guys to win, but you guys lost that game to Manly. Tell me about that process of after that loss. Did you think it was like a bit of a failure that season? Do you think you could have gone further?
Yeah, I mean, losing any finals game sucks. Had a few in it. Yeah, it's not good. We were so close in that game too. We actually played really well. We got sort of beaten on a play at the end there, and you got the whole off season to reflect on it. But yeah, it definitely hurt. But at the same time, it drove us that year, that pre-season. We sort of remembered that pain and sort of built on what we built that year.
That's what I mean. I love that, because to me, it's always like when I talk about professional sport, like you need that setback and failure.
Yeah.
And at the time, it's like it sucks and it
100%.
hurts, but like it fuels you. It's motivation, and like I don't know, you just want to be like, F you, like I'll show you, I'll prove you wrong. People that doubt us, like that's what drives the team in my opinion anyway. Obviously after 2024, you just mentioned the heartbreaking loss to Manly and how you guys felt coming into 2025. And it seemed to me like the Dogs under the Sorrell, that like watching, obviously the improvements were there. Every year you guys have improved on the ladder. Heading into 2025, your start of the year was this year was absolutely phenomenal. Did you think that was set up by the preseason? And tell me about the intensity of the preseason. Was it harder? Was it something you guys did differently, or was it just more personnel, connection and team, everything sort of coming together after a couple of years of growth?
Yeah, a good point at the end there. It's probably the connection and building on the system. We'd already had a year in it. So the preseason, obviously very hard. Everyone's preseason is extremely hard, but especially the Dogs. A lot of hard work was done, but just another preseason of working with that system. And by the time round 1 hit, we were in a pretty good space.
Do you like preseason?
I love preseason. As much as you could love preseason. I mean, you can look at it a few ways. You get paid to run around and work hard, so it's good in that way. Yeah.
You know what? Like, it is so true. It's a necessary evil as a rugby league player.
100%.
And when you actually think about it, like, you actually get paid to train.
Yeah.
And now for someone who's just recently retired, I'm like, I work and do things, but then I've got to find time to train.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
How do I find time to train? And how do people do that?
Yeah, normal people are crazy. And
normal people are crazy.
People with normal jobs. And because
I love that.
I see people into running, right? Like they're running pretty fast. I've been doing some running in the off season because I get sort of inspired, like trying to do like a 5 kilometer run. These times, these people are doing it pretty good. Like,
100%. Mate, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
I've
pretty
done
crazy.
that as well. I'm a 5K specialist at the moment.
Yeah.
But there's some days where I'm like, I'm just cruising. I'm doing like 450s, 5-minute Ks.
Yeah, same. Well, that's what I was doing.
You
And
know,
some
just-
people are doing 4-minute pace for 5 kilometers. I'm like, wow.
How do you do that?
That's crazy.
Someone tell me how you do that. I mean, obviously, you know, we've got a fair few Ks in our legs as well, but nothing like, it's a completely different.
So different, yeah.
It's so different, eh? Because when you're on the field, it's, I don't know, you like, you might sprint, jog, walk, run, whatever it is, but then just constantly running, like a distance.
So different, eh?
I've done a bit of it over the past couple of months since I've stopped playing, and I've found it completely different.
So I think it's probably the aerobic energy system, not to get technical, but we're probably more like short, sharp bursts. But yeah, the continuous running, I'm the same. I've been like sort of challenging myself, obviously inspired by all these people posting it, and it's hard. It's
100%.
so hard.
Mate, just quickly on the preseason sort of training. Like I mentioned very, very earlier in the podcast, you were someone who came in to train. You were always very fit, very punctual, very professional. Had a great 1.2 time. That's one thing I remember with you. You were just all balls out, 100%, just almost pass out when you finish.
Yeah, I have a few times,
As you've gotten older, to me, some of these younger guys that come in, they're a lot fitter. Like the young kids that come in, they're fit. Has your 1.2 time kind of stayed the same? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Luckily, it stayed the same.
You don't need to tell me the actual time. I'm not going to ask you.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you anyway.
Give me exclusive.
What was my best time? Like 4:27, and I'd say I get around that almost every year. I guess 4:30, give or take. But my body's feeling good at the moment, to be honest. Like it's 29, but I sort of
That's one of the things actually. Again, doing my research, I do my research. And I see Connor Tracey's 29 years old.
Crazy,
man. I honestly remember you like not being 20,
I
being
know,
like 20, 19.
Crazy, yeah. We used to train together.
I know.
In the gym, we're doing probably 60 kilos on the bench press together.
I know. There's no way we were doing it heavy.
No way.
Anyway, let's move on. So the 2025 season, you know what I mean? That you spoke about the preseason. You know, it is a necessary evil and how hard it was for you guys. You move into the start of the season, and like I said, you guys to me were like just... This Dogs team was just, it was a pleasure to watch. Like the way you guys were playing, I think you may have started the season with, it might have been 8 or 9 wins in a row. And some of the things that stood out for me were, like your kick chase was absolutely phenomenal. Your line speed, phenomenal. Your completion rate, like absolutely phenomenal. Are they some of the things that Ciro, you know, really pushed hard to you guys in training?
Yeah, 100%. It's sort of the reason we train so hard and sort of the fitness level you've got to have to be in our system. Because, all those things are effort-based and just require doing it over and over again. But, being at the back when our defence is humming, it's pretty cool to watch sort of just the line speed and what the boys are doing. And
to me, it's like the line speed and
crazy.
Inside pressure is almost like, I think it's the best in the competition. Like watching you guys defend, and especially like earlier on in the season, you guys had like back-to-back donuts, back-to-back, didn't concede a point against those teams. Tell me about the feeling at the start of the season when, because you know what it's like. When you're winning, and you're winning consistently week in, week out. Like, it's a good feeling around the footy club. Tell me about that. Yeah,
it's a good feeling. I guess we did pretty well of the whole year, sort of not getting ahead of ourselves. Like, we on a bit of a winning streak, but every week you sort of come in, win or lose, and you're working on things to get better. So, it never for 1 second sort of felt like we're killing it, because you never are.
Not in the NRL.
It's going to wake up to you eventually. So, but it's always an enjoyable process. Win or loss is just, getting better.
Yeah, I love that. And as your season went on this year, obviously midway through the year, the club made some pretty big decisions around sort of personnel and recruitment. Was that something that you think may have sort of disturbed the playing group, or was the playing group like, no, we're solid, we know what we're doing, we're sticking together, we're focused on what we need to do? Because there was a lot of noise like externally, especially like within the media, obviously around like Lockie Galvin and him coming in, and Toby doing a really fantastic job at the start of the season. You guys are coming in first place. Where's he going to play? Who's going to come out? Who's in? Who's out? Did that affect you guys, or were you guys like pretty solid?
Yeah, it's sort of probably a different narrative that the media portrays. Like being in the Bulldogs, the Sydney media love writing articles about the Bulldogs, I've found, and it's all those questions that you hear, but inside the building, it was sort of very different. Like, we were super connected, and when you're connected and you trust a coach and a club's vision, you're going to back sort of whatever they choose. And yeah, we had some changes. Lockie came in, who's a great kid, super talented, got along with all the boys, so he's a great addition to our team, and yeah, he's going to be great for us. And like you said, Toby was probably one of the best teammates I've had. Like, the way he handled it and team first mentality was just, it was actually pretty cool to like witness. To be honest.
That was actually my next question around Toby, because I actually really felt for Toby. Like, you know, I mean, obviously it was a tough decision, but this is like, you mentioned like professional sport.
Yeah.
Like, it's a business. There's some tough calls that are made by clubs. That's one thing I tell some of the younger players. It's like, boys, never forget, it's a business.
Yeah.
You know, it's a business. You love the game, but it's a business.
Yeah.
Like, there's business decisions that are made. But I thought that was a pretty big call for Toby. Like, you know, to be the halfback, leading your team so far. Tell me about how he handled the whole situation, and you take a bit more in depth on Toby.
Yeah, it was pretty inspiring, to be honest. Like, you see a lot of players that probably have lesser stuff happen to them, like will kick stones, put their head down. He never did that once. He came in every day, was out there last on the field doing extras, and yeah, just that team first mentality. And yeah, it paid him back in the end. He was playing in the last few games, so It goes to show you just never, kicking stones and never does anything good for you. It's just always been positive. Like, you just got to control what you can, and he did that, and it was quite inspiring, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then probably another one that was probably a little bit affected by the arrival of Lockie was Reid Marnie. His minutes sort of got less and less as the year went on, and then he missed out on selection in week 1 of the finals. Tell me about him, because to me, watching Reid Marnie, like, I'm a big Reid Marnie fan. I think he's an 80-minute hooker. He's done an exceptional job. For me, watching from the outside, even a couple of years ago, he was like a little menace. He was getting in everyone's faces. He's going to turn that down a little bit this year, I thought. But very competitive. How was he, you know, around the sort of back end of the year when that sort of started to happen to him?
Yeah, like you said, he's the ultimate competitor, and he's a player you love playing with. He led a lot of that stuff we did. Start of the year, the line speed and just his aggression. He's a pretty good player to play with, and yeah, he was similar to Toby. He handled it great, and always works hard and trains hard, and yeah, you know what you're going to get for him on the field.
What about moving into the back end of the year? You know, you guys, I mentioned that start of the season, you played so well, top of the table. The back end of the year, I mean, the thing that a lot of people forget is, like, after 27 rounds, you guys finished inside the top 4. Like, a fantastic season. You may not have had as many wins at the back end of the year as you did at the start of the year, but tell me about, like, the back end of the year heading into the finals, and was there any sort of chat around trying to block out that external media as you headed towards the finals, trying to control things that you can control, you know, within these 4 walls? Was any of that, or was it just like, no, we know what we're doing, we're sticking to business?
Yeah, there was a bit of chat about that. It's an important part today. Obviously, the mindset side of footy, getting off your phone before games is a big part of that. Especially, all the media going around, and we did that quite well. We were pretty focused. Obviously, had a few losses back end of the year, but the connection and nothing ever wavered. And yeah.
What about the finals? You finish inside the top 4. To me, finals is always like it's a new competition. Anything can happen. Anyone can beat anyone on any day. All you need to do is get to the starting line.
Yeah.
And to me, this year was just like, it is such a hard year to pick the premiers.
Yeah.
People are talking about the Roosters coming in at 8th. They're talking about the Sharks. They're talking about teams potentially winning from the outside of the top 4. And you guys are sitting inside the top 4. But unfortunately, you go out, you go loss, season's over. Tell me about that second loss in week 2 and how you felt after that loss, because I assume your thoughts around that are, you think you could have gone further? You feel like you probably could have won the grand final? Was it heartache? Was it disappointment?
Yeah, of course. Going straight sets, it's never what you want, but like you said, it's part of the journey. Like, winning a comp often doesn't start in 1 year. Like, it's a process. You got to make finals, lose them, go back the next year, which it's tough when you're thinking, because a year is so long. So losing any finals game is tough, and Penrith were pretty good that night, and we just weren't good enough. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of work this preseason on getting back there this year and having a different result.
Tell me about some of the senior players that you guys have had and who've had a phenomenal impact on the club, and obviously some of the big names that the Dogs have recruited over the past couple of years. You know, Matt Burton, Kikau, Stephen Crichton, the most recently one. Obviously, very well spoken about his leadership style. Tell me what Stephen Crichton was like. Obviously, he didn't play that game in week 2 of the finals. Tell me about What did he say to the team after you guys lost that week 2 finals team?
Yeah, he's an amazing leader. He has been ever since he came, and for someone so young to have sort of the leadership he does is it's pretty cool. And he wasn't playing, but he was involved in a lot of prep and super encouraging. And he sort of just grabbed us after that game and just said that like we said, it's part of the journey. This is going to happen, and it's how you respond to it, which is going to be the big thing.
So the last couple of years, you guys have improved every year your position on the ladder, heading into the finals. Now, obviously, you mentioned straight sets, which, as a player, you hate that term, don't you? It's like,
bad word.
Well, you have to just cop it on the chin. And, it sucks. But tell me about what are the improvements for the Dogs moving into next season?
Yeah, it's probably a full pre-season again together. We've got some new players coming in and just getting more used to the system. Like you said, we started last year so well, so it'll just be about building on that and obviously maintaining it for the full year.
What are your improvements personally? What do you want to improve your game?
Oh, it's a good question. In the off season, like you sort of go through different things. It's a lot about your body, physically, mentally, but I guess it's tough to say about everything. Like as a player, you want to legit get better at every single little thing. I love sort of our job and how hard you get to work on every part of your game. So, I'd say get better at everything.
Love that. Just everything.
Yeah.
I love that. And at every club, there's always like the next up and coming young gun who's well spoken about. To me, there's a kid at the Bulldogs who I'm sure you know very well, Mitchell Woods, who's been spoken about, highly touted that he's very close to making his NRL debut. What's your impression on Mitch Woods? Tell me a bit about him, and his work ethic and his, what's he like as a player and in and around the club?
Yeah, he's unreal. He's, like you said, one of those young kids that he's so smart. Like when I was 20, he says some things in meetings and I'm like, I didn't even think of that when I was 20. I had no idea what I was doing at your age, and just sort of, that's the player he is. He's always in the video room, always last on the field. So, his work ethic, he's got it, and his footy smart too. It's pretty cool too. Yeah,
awesome. What about, you obviously lose, I mentioned Reid Marnie before. He's headed to the Cowboys for the next couple of years. I feel like he's going to be a big loss for you guys, but then I see someone like Bailey Hayward who's come in and done a pretty good job. I'm pretty sure he's an ex-halfback from what I understand, has moved in to sort of cover that hooker position and also played a bit of lock as well. Mm-hmm. Tell me about, does he go straight into 9, or is there someone else you kind of think? Does that sort of how it plays out, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can't wait to see what he's like after a full pre-season training at hooker. Like he's a great talent. Every position he played this year was just unbelievable. Like him at lock was great. 5'8". He's just sort of anywhere the coach puts him, he's so good at just doing that job. And also his leadership, which probably goes a bit unseen. He's such a good communicator, and he's a player you love playing with.
What about because to me again, like the Dogs play I don't know. For example, I look at the Sharks forwards, right? Mm-hmm. And I look at the Dogs forwards. To me, the Sharks forward pack are they're all massive bodies. Huge bodies. You obviously got Adam Fanua-Blake. You've got Oregon Kafusi, the big Lurch, and then you look at the Dogs bench and I see Kurt Mann, Bailey Hayward, Josh Curran. Yeah. Got respectfully guys who are a little bit smaller in stature than potentially the Sharks. Is that Ciro's style of game? Does he want guys who are more fitter and playing a faster pace, small ball sort of footy? How do you kind of see that?
Yeah, it's the system sort of requires you to be extremely fit. Like you said, those repeat efforts, sort of line speed, kick chase, you're going to be really fit for that. So, I guess naturally you're going to have guys that are a bit smaller that can play a few different positions, and it's you got to be pretty fit to be able to play in the system as a middle.
What about, because I see how fast moving your line is. You know what I mean? You can't afford to sort of have the big Pasha Bulker, the big cruise ship just turn around when he gets back at A defender.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. No.
Tell me about your combination with the other spy members moving forward. You've obviously got Lockie Galvin, who's going to play a significant role there with you. Burton, Bailey Hayward, yourself. Tell me about that combination with those guys, and is there anything that you think you can improve on together, or because you guys have spent a little bit of time together now, tell me about the combination with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Lockie came in and straight away sort of his natural ball playing was, it's pretty cool. And Birdo's obviously, unbelievable talent, his running game and, how good he is. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah, like I said, good pre-season to build on combinations with, the spine and the whole team. And, it's going to be pretty enjoyable.
What are some of your favourite plays or favourite areas on the field to run? I mean, I know you're not going to say yardage carry. Even though you do go, like I said, you're a pinball. You're an absolute pinball when you carry the ball 100 mile an hour. But is there areas of the field that you're like, yeah, this is my either I like to be on the inside of the half. I like to be on the sweeping on the outside. I like getting dropped under. I like all sorts of things. Like obviously, you know what it's like. There's thousands of plays. Is there anything that you're like, I like this. You know, tell me a bit about that.
It almost is a yardage carry. I love kick returns. Kick returns are very fun. Like against a staggered line. Yeah, really, because like you said, our line speed's so good. If we're keeping them sort of inside that 30 and they're kicking long, you're gonna have a pretty good catch as a fullback. So I'm sort of back there watching us move up in the line, and I'm like, I've got to pay these boys back by sort of getting that feel for them. So yeah, I sort of like just things that help the team, like kick returns, getting more yardage for the boys so they don't have to come back as far, and just real.
Is there anything you look for, you know, after you've caught the ball, long kick, you've caught it in your hands? Do you look for like width of the line? Do you look for like the wingers? Do you look for, obviously, you guys getting back behind the ball? Is there anything specifically you kind of look for, or is it just like, I just look for space and I run as fast as I can?
Pretty much. You know me, it's not much thinking. I look at space and try to pinball around, but it's sort of, as the game goes on, you get a few more looks against certain teams. So
I want to talk to you about some of your efforts this year against the Panthers. I think it was maybe round 17, and I'm sitting at home and I'm watching TV, and the Dogs are playing Panthers, and Connor Tracey has like this amazing try-saving tackles. Like some of the best tackles I've ever seen. Like seriously, if you haven't seen it, if you're watching this right now, like go and watch the replay. It's absolutely incredible. So like talk me through it. Talk me through how you saw it. You know, is it just instinct, throw your body in there, no sort of remark for your body? Throw your head in there, just do whatever I can to save a tackle, because it was phenomenal. And you see the appreciation from your teammates. They absolutely loved it. Tell me about that in your own words.
Yeah, it was more so probably a product of the training we do. Like all year I was working hard on try saves, and like in particular there's a drill we do at training. It's pretty much 2 minutes as a fullback where I'm just sprinting side to side. It's like trying to practice those sort of try saves, and I used to use it every week as a real like hit of fitness and obviously getting yourself in those positions. And I was saving a few at training early in the year, and then in games I wasn't saving too many. So sort of that tackle was it was a product of the work I'd done in the weeks leading up to it, and it was pretty cool to come off in a game, because, as I said, it's when you're working on something, I feel like you see it first at training. You might not get the results of it, but the more you do it, it's going to eventually come out in a game.
What about the changes to the game, in your opinion? You know, you've been around a while in the game. You've played rugby league your whole life. Do you think the game now and the demands of the game are harder than they've ever been? Do you think it's more like, is it more professional? What's your take over the last 10 years from when you started to where you are right now? Yeah,
I feel like you would have felt it. The professionalism has just gone up. Like, I feel like even when I started, which was quite a while ago now, as we said.
You're a veteran now.
I'm a vet.
You're a
veteran. When did that happen?
When
not really. I played 100 games.
No, but still, you are a veteran.
Yeah, I just feel like it was sort of a part-time job. Like, you'd finish at 1, you'd go home, you wouldn't do many meetings, but now the demands are so high, and every team's so good that if you're not having long days and really making it a full-time job, you're not going to win games. So that's probably the biggest thing I've seen is just it's a full-time job now, and how committed you've got to be. It's the demands in that way have gone up, with obviously the demands of the game physically.
100%. I could not agree with you more. The demands of the game, the length of the days, the amount more of high-speed running, more contact. It's just everyone comes back in pretty much good shape now. And if you don't, there might be one or two who maybe don't. Like they get left behind.
Yeah.
Where like 10, 15 years ago when I first started, it was like, I don't know, like I never did it, but like it was cool for like 10 guys or whatever just to come back. They were sort of out of shape and they did extras together and they just, but nowadays it's very, very different. It's much more professional. And obviously there's so many more eyeballs on the game now. There's so much more money in the game. And obviously there's so much more at stake. Let's move on. I want to talk to you about your relationship with Cameron Ciraldo. I'm a big Ciro fan. I've loved what he's done over the course of his coaching career. His ability to just make decisions his way and back himself, obviously with his own system. He's got a very good, I guess, pedigree or, resume at the Panthers, very successful there. Tell me about your relationship with Ciro and what are some of the things that you really love working with him about?
Yeah, me and Ciro have got a real good relationship, and he's just super smart. Like his footy smarts are just unbelievable. Sort of the system he created, like he literally created the sort of the system we use, and yeah, how much he believes in it, and sort of that makes you want to believe in it, that makes you want to die with it, and yeah, just sort of how much he knows about footy, and then also just he's a good bloke too, which helps. You got to be able to have those two sides and be good at relationships and that, which he's awesome. So yeah, he's a pretty cool coach.
Is he always Ciro, or can you have a bit of a laugh, Ciro?
Nah, a lot of coaches like that, you see them on the TV and they're always serious, and they're normally the ones that are the funniest and love a joke. So yeah,
because there's some coaches out there, and I am sure you've been a part with some coaches, and you don't need to drop names, but who, like, some of them are just like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm always like, why are coaches just like so, like, I don't know, why are they so serious all the time? Like, just chill, mate. Just chill. Like, it's obviously it's a very stressful environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there anything you kind of do to kind of manage that stress, you know what I mean? Or pressure with regards to, you know, whether you might have played a bad game, you might have lost the game, you might have played well but lost the game, or, you know, obviously there's so many sort of different combinations. Is there anything you do, like, away from the game now that you're a bit older, you know, where you're like, you might have put a lot more pressure on yourself when you were a kid, when you were younger, but now you're like, nah, I can sort of compartmentalize, I can move on from that pretty quickly and focus on the things that I need to do. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's probably been an evolution. Like, I'm still working on it. Like any athlete, you're going to ride the highs and lows, but as you get older, you're probably more aware of that, trying to separate it, but it is a challenge. Like, you should be fully committed, fully invested into the game and into the team, so you're naturally going to be upset after a loss, but yeah, you got to be able to bounce back pretty quickly because there's another one next week. So yeah, I'm sort of into all that sort of mindset training, and yeah, staying off your phone's always good, and it's a super important part of footy that's sort of just becoming pretty popular now. What
about social media? You know, it's become very popular now, the access to players, keyboard warriors, you know, worst kinds of people in the world, in my opinion. How do you deal with that after a game? Because obviously, to me, it's like the same person who has said you've had a good game will be the same person the next week who has said you've had a bad game.
Yeah.
That same person writes, he's the guy that does that. You know what I mean? It's not like one person goes in there and just writes all positive stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like those leeches are... I can't stand them, to be honest.
No.
But tell me about how you deal with social media.
Like you said, it's easier to say, but it's honestly best just to not sort of give it any attention. Like, which is, yeah, as a young guy trying to tell them that, it can be harder, but your life's going to be much better if you're sort of not listening to those people. You have a close circle and you listen to them, you listen to your coach and your partner, but yeah, if you're sort of taking too many opinions, your mind's just going to be cluttered a lot of the time.
Big time.
Yeah.
What about Dogs fans, mate? You guys have some of the best fans in the whole country, in my opinion. Very passionate. You know, you see all the scenes down in Belmore. I think it's that... Is it Joe Bell's Cafe?
Yes, nice.
Mate, I just see it on Instagram. I see this cafe. It's like, I don't know, is it in Bankstown?
Yeah, it's right around the road from Belmore, yeah.
It's in Belmore, right around from Belmore, right? And I just see, you know, a packed street full of Dogs fans, blue and white army everywhere. Tell me about Dogs fans. Like, how are they?
Oh, they're so good. Like, we've had... Most of our games we're getting 30 to 40K. We had some during the year. We played South. We got 65,000 to a round game. Like, it's unbelievable. And like, not only that, they're the loudest fans. They're passionate. We did a few walkovers from the hotel, like in between the fans. I don't know if you saw that.
Did.
The experiences are just so cool. Like, it's something, you know, at the time you're gonna sort of savour your whole life, and yeah, the Dogs fans just make it really enjoyable for us.
You are a veteran now. We just spoke about that before. All right, whether you like it or not, you're
100-game veteran. Yes.
Whether you like it or not, you're a veteran in the NRL. All right, you've been around a long time. You've played a lot of footy. Tell me about your, I guess, now that you are a veteran. Obviously, there's a lot of young guys that come in every single year, especially at pre-season. You know, the squads are a lot bigger. There's young guys who you just sort of meet fresh out of school, just joined the NRL squad, full-time training. Are you someone who will openly pass information on and help younger guys? Have you gravitated towards that role? Tell me about that type of role. Do you enjoy it? Does it come naturally? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so it doesn't come naturally, but sort of when I came to the Bulldogs, I was sort of realised that I've been around for longer than I think. Like, it's happened sort of real quick that you've sort of do have advice, I guess, to pass on. Like, it's definitely not natural, but yeah, you sort of, when you've played a few games, you see yourself having more advice to give. So yeah, of course, any young bloke that comes in, you're going to help them, be the best they can be.
And to me, like, we keep using that word veteran, all right? I won't say it anymore. Because I remember the first time someone called me a veteran, I was like, when did that happen? Yeah. I feel like the same thing,
Crazy,
all of a sudden, overnight. It's just
Yeah.
like one day you're not a veteran, one day you're not a senior player, then the next day you are a senior player or you're a
100%.
veteran. But tell me about, I guess, your leadership style. You know what I mean? To me, you may not be a captain of a team or whatever, but I see you as someone who leads with actions. The way that you play, the way that you carry yourself, that's to me is, that's to me is leadership. Tell me about your leadership style. Are you someone who, like you said, it may not come naturally for you to go and speak to someone, but are you more of a quiet achiever, someone who likes to sort of stick to their own sort of guns, processes and routine? Tell me a bit about that, your leadership style.
Yeah, thank you, bro, first of all. I don't like speaking in front of big groups and that, obviously, but I do like individual connections. I really like that part of footy. Sort of knowing what your teammate needs from you, and you do get that, with time spent, having those close bonds, it's going to help you go up to someone in a game. And yeah, I sort of like being real positive to my teammates. I feel like that's sort of the way I sort of handle it. But yes, I really like those close connections you have with the players.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. And I want to talk to you about your contract situation. You're effectively, it's after November 1 now, effectively you're able to negotiate with any team that you like in the league. What are you thinking? Is there any sort of thoughts process at the moment with your contract? Obviously, I just assume that you would absolutely love to stay at the Bulldogs, and I would love to see you stay there too if that's what you'd like to do. But tell me about that process, being off contract. Is it something you think about, you're worried about, or you're more like, hey, I'm just going to get through my preseason, focus on playing really well, and everything else will just take care of itself?
Yeah, probably more the latter. I mean, it's really not something I've thought of too much. I mean, I've got a good manager. So yeah, I sort of just let him handle it, and I'm just focused on training hard and really looking forward to getting in. And I've got next year anyway, so I feel like as a player, you're looking at the year that's coming. You're hardly not looking at the year after that. So yeah, it's just like you said, I just leave it to my manager, and I'd love to stay at the Bulldogs. They're such a good club, and yeah, I'm always going to do my best when I put on that jersey.
Yep. Do you ever put a timeline on how long you want to play for, or it's just we'll see how long the deals or the offers are? Is it I want to play to a certain number, I want to get to a certain games? Do you ever think about that, or is it just I'll just see what happens?
Well, you probably might have had the same thing. It's weird. I'm 29 now, and you know that a good career is 33, 34. You've done a good job to make it that far. But
thank you, mate.
Yeah, so well done. But no, my body's feeling great. I'm sort of should I be feeling a bit sorer? But after all the injuries I've had and sort of figuring out how to handle my body, the training it needs, I feel like I'm probably in the best position I've been physically. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm just sort of waiting till the wheels fall off, and I'm happy to play for as long as the team needs me. And one day there'll be a kid that comes in that's going to take my spot, but that's fine. I'm going to do whatever I can when I have the jersey on to play as good as I can. But if that's not enough, that's fine.
It's a really great outlook, because I just, you just mentioned it, obviously you missed 3 years of football, running, training, everything at the start of the year. You're getting paid back that now, in my opinion, with your time and your body and the way that you found out to find that process. You just mentioned that young kid that comes in at some stage, the business or whatever decision it happens, and that sort of takes me into the next phase of life. I'm starting the next phase of life now, and I kind of openly speak about it. I want to help players kind of with that transition in retirement. It's because it's hard.
Yep.
It's to me, I've found it. There've been some very hard days, but also some very, very good days. And I was always I feel I'm at a point now where I was very ready to stop playing. Do you ever think about your life after footy and what you'd like to do?
Yeah, I do. You think about it more at this age, and I've got a finance degree. I got that when I was about 25, finished that. So I've sort of been thinking about, like you said, helping athletes, and I'm thinking about being a mortgage broker and sort of specialising in sort of helping athletes get their loans, because when I've gone about that process myself, it's always tough when you're on a 1-year deal or whatever, and yeah, sort of be able to help an athlete and combine my love for finance in that way is it's sort of the idea I have at the moment.
Yeah, awesome. All right, my last question for you, and I can't believe I didn't bring this up at the start of the podcast, to be honest, but Connor Tracey, the fisherman, all right?
Yes.
The keen fisherman. For people who may not know, Connor Tracey will just go out on his boat, just catching all sorts of fish. I mean, yesterday you're up in the Blue Mountains, hiking, fishing in fresh water. Tell me a bit about because Yeah, you
Don't
mentioned.
ask if we caught anything.
But you're we spoke about golf at the start of the podcast, and that players find something to do. To me, every player has something that they really love doing away from footy.
Yeah.
To me, for me, it was golf. For you, it is fishing. Now a little bit of golf.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about how you got into fishing and your relationship with fishing.
Yeah, like you said, it's something that takes you away. So yesterday, me and my mate Corey, we've always fished saltwater, but we thought we'd take up freshwater fly fishing for trout as a hobby. But
So did you have the overalls on?
no, so
and were you like just like
I'll tell you the story of what happened yesterday, right? So we did it a bit last year. We literally hiked probably 40 hours, caught one trout. And we were so happy with it. Anyway, so this is the first time we've been yesterday. We woke up at 4:30, drove to the Blue Mountains. Don't have the overalls, but got a fly rod and that. Literally all day hiking. We've seen a few trout, like we see some big ones, which is pretty cool. But regardless, we walked 12 kilometres up and back, got no bites. We're thinking, Corey's like, oh, do you reckon like we're bad fishermen or are they just not biting? I'm like, nah, they're just not biting today. Like, we've watched YouTube, we've taught ourselves on YouTube. Anyway, we're just about near the car after walking 12 kilometres downstream, and we see this guide with the overalls, with all the line on his chest, like he knows what he's doing. I'm like, hey mate, you caught anything? He goes, oh yeah, we got about 10. And he looks at the flies we've got in our rod and he goes, oh, what are you using those flies for? It's a complete wrong time of year. So me and Corey, it was a long trip home. We drove about 2.5 hours going, oh, what are we doing? Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was actually hilarious. We spent the whole day fishing and this guy goes, oh, you weren't going to catch anything with those lures.
Jeez,
So yeah, if there's any fly fishing experts out there, me and Corey need some help.
Make sure you reach out to the boys. Mate, when are you back to training? What you got a date?
2 more weeks.
Yep.
So yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So start ramping up my own training now, and it's exciting.
Yeah, awesome. See you, mate. I just want to say massive thanks for coming on today, having a chat. You've had such an amazing career, filled with highs, lows, everything. You've got an awesome journey. You're going to have an awesome year next year. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you, Chatty. Appreciate you.